Well, we're in the South Los Angeles area. You see that vehicle right there, Roxy? That is going to be the pursuit vehicle, or the one that they are pursuing. But you know what? It has gone from pursuit to tracking, back to pursuit, but now back to tracking again. The vehicle moving at very high speeds, at one point actually doing a maneuver that lost most of the officers that were behind him on the freeway. Right now, though, we're on surface streets. You can see we're going to be northbound on San Pedro, and this vehicle moving very, very quickly. Now, to say that there is nobody watching this vehicle, that is untrue. The LAPD helicopter still above it, and they're keeping an eye on it, but the speeds really haven't slowed down. He continues to move very quickly, just ran a red light right there. Those speeds, I would venture to say, probably about 50, 60 miles an hour. Now, it is early morning. South Los Angeles, San Pedro, though, is a pretty busy street, and right now you can see that vehicle been very lucky at all these intersections, but every time he goes through one, you know, his luck is getting less and less and less. Hopefully this ends with that vehicle just pulling over that suspect in custody. Again, it's a stolen vehicle, stolen Cadillac. Right now, though, it's in tracking mode. There's an LAPD helicopter above it, keeping an eye on it. But as far as anybody on the ground, no officers following on the ground at this time.
Stolen Cadillac, it looks like it's red, right?
Yes, it is, Roxy. It's a red Cadillac. I'm looking out the window. Vinny's running the camera this morning, and I can tell you that there are a couple of black and whites on the ground, units, LAPD units on the ground that are actually going to get right behind it. He actually made it easy for them. He made that eastbound turn on Gage. Now, these other officers are actually right behind him. If you know Gage, there's a sharp turn coming up, so he's going to have to negotiate that even at high speeds. A lot of traffic here as well, and it looks like he's making another turn. Looks like we're going to be heading back up to the north. There's that LAPD helicopter we've been talking about, and of course those units, the cars on the ground, the LAPD vehicles, they're going to have some catching up to do. But right now, their safety for the public is the biggest concern. This vehicle not slowing down, even though there are no vehicles actually in pursuit of it at this time.
You know, Stu, this is, a busy area and only going to continue to get busier as the morning progresses. It's 5:11 right now. We're already seeing, I mean, looking at this driver going around other cars, making these wide right turns. Any word on how fast?
You know what? We're going to try to get an idea on the speeds right there, but I can tell you some LAPD vehicles making sharp U-turns right there. They're like cowboys this morning. And you're right. Look at the traffic. It is just getting thicker and thicker out here. LAPD re-engaging that pursuit. There's that helicopter once again. Beautiful shot by Vinny, our cameraman. He's going through a green light here at the major. That's probably going to be, I'm sorry, we're on Florence, and he's coming up onto Figueroa here in just a moment. I don't know if he knows this area because he's actually made a couple of blocks in this spot right before we got here. Right now it looks like we're going to be making, nope, we're going to go straight through, so we're going to be heading eastbound on Florence or possibly the 110. He does seem to like to stay on the freeways.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up as far as does he know the area or not, or he or she, we don't know who's inside that vehicle or how many people in fact. But oftentimes we do see in these cases stolen vehicles go to neighborhoods where they are familiar. That it doesn't seem to be the case.
There's a wall. You're going to have to get over it. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
no. It's okay. I know you're up there trying to process the information and trying to figure out what's going on. Do we know where this began, though?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question, and we were moving the Skyfox along. He got back onto the freeway. We were a little bit too far over, and there's that sound wall. Also, the fire this morning, a homeless fire next to the freeway. You can see the smoke and the flames right there. We'll get to that later on. Looks like he got back onto the carpool lane. That's going to take him up high, but also it gives him the opportunity to basically just get right off at Adams. These are the two locations that this vehicle seems to tend to go back and forth from. He was up by the 110 over in the downtown Los Angeles area. When he wasn't on the freeways, he was on those streets right there, Grand 12th, that type of area, and then he made his way south, and now he's making this U-turn heading north again. The traffic, you can see it. It is getting kind of thick out there this morning. Like you said, the later in the morning it gets, the more cars are going to get on the road, the more dangerous the situation is going to become. LAPD, though, right now they've opted for the lights and sirens, letting the people know on the ground what's going on. And again, they have a helicopter above. Right now we're counting 3 LAPD vehicles, but this Cadillac moving so quickly this morning, he's really putting a lot of space between him and those officers. That helicopter is going to be a key part to keep this suspect in the eyes on this suspect and letting the guys on the ground know where he is.
Just looking at this, I can't imagine. This is incredibly dangerous. You need to look out for this and pay attention to what's going on here, especially as you get ready to head out the door this morning. Stu, I know you say this started as a stolen vehicle report. Can you tell us anything else? Do we know anything else at this point about how the pursuit started?
You know, we don't know anything really too detailed. Our assignment desk in the morning was basically giving me heads up before we even got to the helicopter that they were following this guy in the Venice area. So he's been driving quite a while. There you go. That's going to be the Adams off ramp. You see the sign for Figueroa. He's making that turn. He's going to be heading over to Figueroa. So that's going to be Figueroa and Adams making another sharp turn. Looks like we're going south again. We're going south again, and you know, so. This guy, I don't know if he's just enjoying the ride right now or just biding his time, but it doesn't really look like he's looking for anything. Back onto the freeway right there, and this is going to take you, I believe, is going to take you back onto the carpool lane. So he's going to be doing that high level over the 110 freeway, actually passing some of those LAPD units. If you get just a little bit wider in a second, you'll actually see them going the other direction. There they go. See, that's how far behind they are. But that helicopter right above it making the calls. And of course, you know, LAPD, those aren't the only officers they have employed this morning. There's others out there. So they'll be in the area if this does come to an end.
Yeah, it's always tricky. You think of the people who are on the road right now, especially when you're on the freeway, you're going fast anyway, and you're not really aware of what is going on around you. I know, speaking for myself, if I was on the freeway right now and this car sped past me, I wouldn't really think much of it. When you're on the surface streets, though, it is a little bit more different, because when you have someone going as fast as this person is and not really abiding by the traffic laws, it does get your attention. Oftentimes, though, sometimes these pedestrians or people walking or even running at this hour, or even just people driving, they can become victims so easily.
Yeah, and we don't want to see any victims out here. Even LAPD has some concern for the suspect behind the vehicle of that car. Vinny actually had the speedometer up there for a minute or two. It looks like that car well into the triple digits, well into the 100 mile an hour, 130 mile an hour. Right now, it brakes as he's getting a little closer to some of these other vehicles. But you are right. So right. This.
Oh no! It looks like we lost Stu there. Stu, are you back?
Yeah, I hope so. At any rate, I was saying, it's like, these vehicles moving so quickly. That's one of the reasons why LAPD opts to have those lights and sirens, to give the folks on the ground that opportunity or that heads up. If it is just a few seconds, something's going on, so they can check their rearview mirrors, they can slow down, they can do the procedures that they need to do when they hear lights and sirens. But in this case right now, this vehicle moving so quickly, LAPD, they've got to think about safety for their officers as well. They are in the area. They're making their way down there. But this Cadillac moving at 130 miles an hour, that's quite a clip. And you can see Vinny put the speedometer back up right there. It bounces back and forth. We actually are keeping our distance from the LAPD helicopter when it's a complicated situation, but when we're in the LAX airspace, which we are right now, we have to give ourselves extra distance from the LAPD. That was an agreement that our pilots have made with the LAPD pilots. But right now it looks like, he was going to get off the way. I bet you he was on the 105 earlier. I bet you he's making his way back over to the 105 freeway. Or not.
Yeah, it's hard to know. So, oftentimes when we do these pursuits, there isn't much we know. So we like to focus on what we don't know. So what we don't know right now is if it's a man or a woman behind that wheel, how many people are in the car.
105.
We do know that this vehicle was stolen, the stolen Cadillac, a red stolen Cadillac, but kind of all over town right now. Let's go back to Stu. So now we're back on Surface Street, Stu. Where exactly?
That's right. Well, we made our way. We got off at Imperial. We made an eastbound turn right there. You can see that vehicle. And it looks like we're just doing one of those roundabouts, getting back onto the freeway. So in this case, this kind of tells you that this suspect, he's not looking for a place to dump the vehicle. He's not looking for a way to get away. Right now, he's basically just taunting these officers, racing up and down the freeway in early morning traffic, which is an extremely dangerous for anybody. And this is one of the things that he's become a menace to the safety of other people on the freeway. Right now, though, that Cadillac picking up some speed again, making our way north. So basically, we just did the whole roundabout. Officers, they're picking up on this. I see some officers a little ways up. I believe that's going to be Manchester. They're getting off southbound, and it looks like they're setting up to go northbound already. So they're going to be intercepting this guy once again here on the northbound 110 freeway. But, you know, how do you stop them? Just because you're there behind them, you have command authority, or command of presence, as I believe is what they call it, you know, with the lights and sirens. Oh, it looks like he's getting off where the officers are getting on. You're going to see them basically pass each other on the on-ramp, off-ramp. There they go. They're the officers getting on the freeway. You know, it's just been a real unlucky morning for everybody involved. But here we go. Looks like he's getting off here and making a sharp turn, red light, cutting that guy off. And then basically we'll see what he does, but maybe he'll get back onto the freeway, maybe he'll stay on the side streets. But this is one of those pursuits, just playing with officers. There you go. One of the latecomers is actually now the lead here, making a hard turn. He's getting some help from...
Very dramatic, Stu. Don't leave us now. I know the signal is a little spotty, so we're working to get Stu back up on Skyfox. But you saw right there, so unpredictable, and the timing so key here as he's getting off the freeway.
Three officers getting on.
They're getting back on the freeway. But at this point, you know, if you are anywhere in the area, and I want to go back to what area we are in specifically, just so people are aware. Tell us where this is so people can avoid this area, Stu.
Well, South Los Angeles, northbound Figueroa, just passing through 76th Street right there. But these numbers are going to be moving very quickly. Again, 80 miles an hour on Figueroa. Extremely dangerous. We know, like, Slauson is coming up. That's another one of those ones that's going to be very, very busy. And it is. Look at that. There's traffic going back and forth right there. He's running another red light, making a hard right turn. Every time he comes up to those busy intersections, that is when it really gets tense, at least for me, because you never want to see those collisions, somebody just driving to work or taking their kids to school or whatever, and then have somebody barreling through a red light at 100 miles an hour. It could end very tragically. Again, making another turn, making his way back onto the northbound 110 freeway. This really seems to be the spot that this suspect, this criminal, seems to really tend to gravitate to. Getting back off again at Gage, and you can see LAPD, they basically just are getting on and realizing now they've got to get back off. Another solid red. At least he's in that middle lane and not that much traffic. But you can see just kind of cutting his way through. Looks like he's going to be going, just getting on again, off again. That's just like my relationships. Here he goes, getting back onto the 110 freeway right there.
Thank you for sharing, Stu. Yeah, but, you know, this morning, as you mentioned, you know, as the streets are moving past, the numbers are continuing to rise because this driver is going so quickly, so you almost can't even know, you know, where you need to avoid. There's no telling where this driver is going to go. We keep seeing on the freeway, off the freeway. When we first picked this up with you, Stu, he had made the block a couple times, the exact same area. And it's not just the speed. It is the driver maneuvering around traffic unsafely.
Yeah, and that one right there, he was actually going against traffic. He got off the freeway once again, underneath the 110 freeway. Looks like he's making another sharp turn, getting back onto the southbound 110. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is a, we'll tell you here in a second. Yep, it's back onto the southbound 110 freeway, but actually driving against traffic. And now look at this. He's like trying to push his way between these cars. You know, you got to think, these folks that are driving down there, they don't know what's going on, except they've got this lunatic basically just trying to squeeze their way, you know, through between them, trying to get onto the freeway. Right now, though, we're going to be heading southbound one more time. LAPD, you know, we're watching it. We're basically just along for the ride. These guys, they've got to come up with a plan to try to bring this to an end. And then they also have to find a way to get ahead of it. This guy, he's making it very, very difficult. Here we go, off again, it looks like, and we're going to be on the wrong side here, but we'll take a look. We'll make sure we don't lose him. But is he going eastbound, westbound, or is he just going to get back onto the freeway? We'll find out here in just a moment. It looks like he's underneath the freeway. And, oh, no, he got back on the freeway, Vinny. He just went straight through. And it looks like now he's going to be on Flower. That's that little street that basically parallels, is very residential, but it also has a lot of dips in there. So we'll keep an eye on that car. That would be something, too. Maybe he does something to the vehicle that damages it and makes it so that it is unable to go. 1 second.
Well, yeah, and we don't know how much gas is in the tank, so that's always, you never want to steal my car. I'm always close to running on empty.
You know? We are the same there.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
true.
I mean, you're going 130 miles per hour. Look how fast this car is going.
Whoa!
Yeah, saw that.
Yep.
So you're right. It does seem like this person is really gravitating towards the downtown area. So perhaps, you know, assuming, one only can assume, this is an area this person's familiar with, or perhaps lives near, or I don't know, is making some kind of plan. It's making it difficult, though. You know, you think about the spike strips, and oftentimes this is what happens with pursuits, but this person is making it difficult to make a plan for that because they're all over the place. You know, they're going this way, then that way, on and off freeways. You don't really know where to put those spike strips down.
Exactly, and these officers from LAPD, they're basically trying to set up in a way where they're okay, he never came out the other side, so he basically made a stop there underneath the freeway. This might be the time where he gets out of that vehicle and tries to run, but, you know, they got the helicopter above. You can actually see on both sides. We're going to keep an eye on it. Vinny, he is really an eagle eye. There you go, you got some black and whites making their way underneath the freeway. So if he's still under there, this guy will make contact with him in just a moment. So maybe they're going to try to box him in, or perhaps, like we couldn't see it, he actually got out of that vehicle and ran. We're going to play with the scanner right now, get some information from our assignment desk, but it looks like he's got to be underneath that bridge somewhere, because now these officers are making U-turns. That would have been a tough disappearing act for sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, that's really all we can really look at. We're seeing where the officers are going. It's just taking us back to not only how fast this car is going, but, you know, we watched the driver get off the freeway. One of the many times the driver got off the freeway before getting right back on, as the officers were getting on the freeway at the same time. This has been wild this morning, Stu.
On Manchester from Figueroa. I'm sorry, guys. Hang on.
Yeah, no problem. We understand you're getting information. Take your time. We're just trying to keep our eyes on this red stolen Cadillac and trying to figure out what's going on down below, Stu. Whenever you get a moment, fill us in what we're looking at.
I'm sorry about that. You know, like I said, this has been a morning of difficulties. We're having a little issue with our scanner for our police radios this morning, so we're leaning on our assignment desk. But what we did figure out is that vehicle, basically, they're saying has stopped, and right now they're trying to lock down the area because they believe that suspect out of the vehicle, and possibly you can see there's a train station up there, so that might be where he ran up into that top area right there. There's access from the ground. But that vehicle definitely has stopped this morning underneath the freeway.